This week on the Racer X Show, it was the 4th of July holiday weekend, but some racing was going on, like Pro Motocross from RedBud, where those leading the way proved why. And AMA Pro Flat Track, the drama of the hard-packed clay of the always entertaining and slippery Hagerstown, Maryland. We also have highlights from the Pro Superbike class of the Superbike Shootout. It may have looked like a cakewalk to the crown, but when championships are on the line, anything can happen. All that and more right now. Hello everyone and welcome to the Racer X Show presented by Chaparral Motorsports. I'm your host Greg White, and we certainly hope you had a great 4th of July weekend. We did. Not a ton of racing going on during the holiday season, but enough to get your heart pumping. So let's get after it.
The Racer X Show with Greg White is being presented by Chaparral Motorsports. Visit Chaparral Motorsports online at chapmoto.com.
Heading into the halfway point of the Lucas Oil's Pro Motocross Championship, two riders are standing out from the rest. Red Bull KTM teammates Ken Roczen, number 94, and Ryan Dungey, who runs in number 5. Now here are some stats for you. So far, Roczen, who leads the championship, has 1 third-place finish, 5 second-place finishes, and 4 wins. That's it, nothing below third. Dungey, 2 fourths, 2 thirds, 4 seconds, and 2 wins. Those fourths would have Dungey 16 points back in the chase. But for the 450 class rookie Roczen, the trip to Michigan, well, he'd maximize his points, just like he did earlier in the year in Hangtown. To the video we go, and RedBud in Buchanan, Michigan. Several riders calling it their favorite on the circuit. Moto 1 of the 450s is up, and third in points, number 7 James Stewart on the Yoshimura Suzuki tries number 33 Josh Grant on his Toyota Yamaha JGR-YZF, and blammo! Stewart's RMZ reported as destroyed. Yosh would put a new one together for Moto 2. But up front, coming off a bad start, Roczen. Here zipping by early leader, number 41 Trey Kennard, Team Muscle Milk Honda. Dungey had worked his way into second over Kennard, but had this bobble to allow Kennard to go back by. Dungey would never recover. So, the number 94 Ken Roczen, coming off a win in Tennessee, takes his second moto win in a row. So Kennard, who take out the first moto of the season where he finished 7th, has nothing but top 4s, while James Stewart is going the opposite way. Brett Metcalf on the Monster Energy Kawasaki had his teammate Ryan Villapoto there cheering him on. 7th in this one. Moving on to Moto 2, on the inside is number 41 Kennard, fighting fiercely with Ken Roczen. Eventually Roczen would park Kennard on the inside move to take the point, and watch the grip and acceleration of that KTM. Brap! That was all she wrote in this one. Roczen would take off and take his 3rd win in a row, 2nd on the day. Kennard would eventually fade back to 4th, but GEICO Honda's Eli Tomac with his 3rd podium in only 4 races back, and his 450 outdoor debut. Dungey would end the day 3-3. Check out 10th place, number 80 Frederick Noren. The Swede filling in for the injured Justin Barsha on the Team Honda Muscle Milk machine, his first top 10 of the season. So many good stories, including, in his own words, Ken Roczen's.
Well, you know, I like the track out here. It's gnarly and it really makes a difference. So, grabbed a good start. I think a whole shot about let Trey by. I think otherwise it could have been much easier, but happy with my performance. So awesome when you don't get tired, you know, and then the racing is fun. And man, the fans were awesome out here. And want to give a shout out to Keith, my practice mechanic back home, for keeping the track on point, putting in all the hard work, and everybody around me was just awesome.
Roczen with max points, Tomac, Dungey, and Kennard all walked away with the same 40. Discount Tire 22 Motorsports Chad Reed, who's 4th on the all-time Pro Moto 450 class podium list with 45, still in search of his first this year, 8 and 7 at RedBud. The points look like this. Roczen gets 10 on Dungey, while Stewart's bad luck weekend sees him drop a spot. Not on the list, Eli Tomac, already up to 12th overall. We could see him on this panel after next week at Budds Creek. We move on to the 250 class, where points leader Jeremy Martin hadn't won a moto since he swept the first 5. But when this one started, eyes were focused on the roller coaster that is Christophe Pourcel, the Frenchman on the number 377 Valley Motorsports Yamaha, having an up and down season at best. And in this one, he struggled to keep balance and tipped over. He would get up again, only to crash one more time. But he wasn't the only one with problems. Battling for 5th, Dean Wilson and Cole Seeley came together. Boink! Both go down. And how about Marvin Musquin in 3rd? He got his legs stuck in the rear wheel, needing a little bit of help. Little help to get going. Justin Bogle with a tip over. But one guy who fought for it and fought hard, back on top, Jeremy Martin on his Yamalube Star Racing Yamaha. That's a W. Blake Baggett on the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki 2nd. Jason Anderson on the Rockstar Energy KTM, able to hold off the charges of Musquin for the final podium spot. When the gate dropped on Moto 2, it was number 43, Joey Savacci, with the early lead on his Rockstar Energy KTM. But Justin Bogle on the GEICO Honda just plain wanted it and grabbed the lead. But this is motocross, and sometimes this happens. Bogle with a cross rut off the side of the track, and done. He'd end up 12th. But when it was all over, it was Yamalube Star Racing Yamaha's Cooper Webb who had to duke it out with teammate Martin for the victory. Marvin Musquin on the Red Bull KTM walks away with his first podium of the year. Wilson and Seeley with some better results in 5th and 6th respectively. But overall, with the 1-2 on the day, Jeremy Martin. Take it away.
And I had a great battle with my teammate Cooper in that one. I couldn't get around Bogle, thought I had him. Came back in on me and almost took me out quite a few times, and he finally went down. And I got him behind Cooper, and I just paced myself, and I put in a pusher the last couple laps and was able to get up on him, but not make something happen. So it was a good day for the team, though.
Since we just heard from Martin, he's the winner. But Marvin Musquin and Anderson swap places, giving Marvin 2nd overall. How about that? Cooper Webb does some damage control, 14th and 1st. Good enough for 5th place. So Martin extends his lead. At the halfway point of the season, he's stopped the bleeding for now. 15 in the plus column over his teammate Webb, giving Martin a 23-point advantage. And to watch all the great practice and race action this weekend, you can do it on the web. ProMotocross.com/live. 10:30 a.m. East, practice. 12:15 pre-show. Moto 1, 1 p.m. East. 3 p.m. for Moto 2. On TV, MAV TV at 1 p.m. That's live Moto 1. And at 3 p.m. on NBC SN, Moto 2. You can always check out what's going on each week as we bring you race highlights right here on the Racer X Show, presented by Chaparral Motorsports. Motocross fans know that it's usually right around RedBud that the rumor mill starts heating up about which 3 riders will represent Team USA in the annual Motocross of Nations, which takes place at the end of September each year. Now this time, the race will be held in Latvia, which is over in Eastern Europe, on September 28th. After winning 7 times in a row going back to 2005, Team USA has come up empty-handed at each of the last 2 Motocross of Nations. So it's crucial that Team USA manager Roger DeCoster come up with a strong lineup. That might be easier said than done, in large part due to the calendar. The last round of the Lucas Oil's Pro Motocross Championship is August 23rd. That's 5 weeks before the Motocross of Nations. Any rider on the AMA circuit who is chosen, whether he's going to race for Team USA or Team Germany, maybe Team France, Australia, whatever, must stay in shape and keep riding and testing for more than a month while everyone else is taking a long overdue rest after racing almost non-stop since January. Then it's right back to the grind in October for pre-season Supercross testing and training in order to be ready for Anaheim in 2015. It doesn't leave a lot of downtime to, say, I don't know, get married, which Ryan Dungey's going for, or healing up from injuries like Ryan Villapoto or Justin Barcia will still be doing, or switching teams, which a lot of guys may be doing. Riders in Europe, they don't have that calendar problem. They race GPs through September, and there's no Supercross season over there to get ready for. They won't need to be in race shape again until next spring. Add it all up, and you probably see why Roger DeCoster may have his hands full in pulling together Team USA 2014. Stay tuned. Like I said at the top of the show, we only had a couple series racing over the 4th of July weekend. Pro Motocross, which you just saw, and AMA Pro Flat Track, which you're getting ready to see. Some info before we get you there. Hagerstown Half Mile is known as a hard-packed, slippery clay track, a stark contrast to what we saw in Lima, Ohio last weekend. And a non-Harley-Davidson powered motorcycle hasn't won Hagerstown since 1996. Got it? So, off we go to Maryland. After the heat races were in the books, most thought that the red-hot Kenny Coolbeth Jr. was the man to beat. And in a way, he was. Because when the throttles were opened up and the dust settled, it was Donati Racing's Coolbeth with the early lead. Behind him, Villa Esparza Crosley Radio's Brian Smith on the Kawasaki-powered number 42. And number 9, Rogers Racing Harley-Davidson's Jared Mees. It was like that until lap 8, when in sure disgust, Coolbeth had to pull off the line with a mechanical issue. That left Smith and Mees to have at it. And have at it they did. Mees hounded his good friend from Michigan. Steel shoe only inches from Smith's rear wheel. These guys raced all over the half mile. In the blue groove, off the blue groove, both in search of one thing, traction. But when the white flag was flying, Smith dropped the hammer and would not look back, taking a double checkered flag for his second win of the season. Number 55, Jake Shoemaker on the Montgomeryville Cycle Center Kawasaki from Pennsylvania, having a great run at it in 3rd place. But the day goes to Brian Smith, so let's hear from him.
Man, I never would have, I don't think any of my competitors really bet on me to win it. I don't think anybody picked Jared to win Lima last week, and I don't think they picked me to win this week. It's just not our cup of tea, and you know, I'm very fortunate. I got just a great group of guys behind me, and we just put it all together finally, and felt great. And I just put my head down, and I've rode a lot of laps with Jared on my heels or just on his heels, and we've traded a lot of paint on the ice all winter. You know, we're best friends, and he lives just a few miles from me, so we'll be bragging about this till the next one, and you know, luckily I got 2 weeks for the next race to rub it in a little bit.
Oh boy, it is snug up top, with Mees taking over the lead, 1 point ahead of Jake Johnson, then Coolbeth Jr., and Smith all tied up with 99, only 5 back. The racers get a week off, but then it's off to the West Coast for 5 in a row. We know this is going to look very different by then. Exciting stuff. And speaking of exciting stuff, the pro singles always brings good excitement, and this race was no different. We're just going to take you to the last lap of this one with track announcer Scotty Dubler.
It is Wells, Johnson, and Fisher, 1, 2, and 3. What a race we have. Johnson goes around the outside looking for the lead. Kaylee, his sister, is going to get the victory lap if he can pull it off. Johnson tasting a victory. Here he comes. Johnson makes a pass as they go into turn 3. Shuts the door on Wells. Fisher goes high. He's out of it. Here he comes. Last lap pass, ladies and gentlemen. 3 wins in a row for Kyle Johnson.
Parkinson Brothers Racing's Kyle Johnson on a CRF 450R with a last lap win, followed by GE Capital KTM's Ryan Wells, and still looking for his first pro singles win, Warren, Oregon's Davis Fisher. Vanderkoy and Bromley completing your top 5. Let's hear from Kyle Johnson.
I thought we got off to a decent start, kind of a rough start, and we had our work cut out for us. By the time I got in the 3rd, Ryan and Davis, they were out there, and I knew I just had to keep pushing myself. Man, it's got to be the best win yet because I just had to work for that one.
So right there, come across the flag, white flag, you're not in the number 1 spot. How'd you put it together?
Oh, I just knew I had to push it all right there, and that was either do or die pretty much.
Oddly enough, the finishing order is also the way they fall in the points. Johnson, with his 3 wins in a row, climbs from 4th to 1st, 2 ahead of Wells. Brendan Wilhelm drops from 1st to 4th with his 10th place finish. Expect this type of points battle all the way to Pomona. On to road racing and the GEICO Motorcycle Superbike Shootout presented by Yamaha and the Pro Superbike class. In this one-off 3-race series, we've already seen 2 winners in 2 races, Yoshimura Suzuki's Martin Cardenas and Monster Energy Graves Yamaha's Cameron Beaubier. But for the final round at Miller Motorsports Park, with round 2 of the AMA Pro Superbike season just 6 days away in Wisconsin, Yoshimura decided to stay home. So it looked like Beaubier would win the championship over teammate Hayes. But looks can be deceiving. After qualifying, number 4 Hayes on his Monster Energy Graves Yamaha put his R1 closest to turn 1. But in practice earlier that day, the track record, which Hayes set in qualifying, was shattered in practice by number 2 Cameron Beaubier. So the scene is set. Even asleep at the wheel, Hayes was able to capture the early lead. In 3rd, from 2nd on the grid, factory KTM HMC's Chris Fillmore. But with just about 2 laps in the books, Beaubier made his move to pass Hayes. With Sicmo Tool Flyer Racing's David Anthony in 4th, Fillmore was doing his best to keep the Yamahas in sight, riding the wheels off his RC8 until he crashed. Fillmore would pick it up and continue. So fast forward to about the halfway mark. We were watching Chris Fillmore, who had worked his way up to 10th, All the while, Beaubier is out front, comfortably leading the race and the championship. And then, in total disbelief, Cameron Beaubier crashes, throwing his R1 on the ground. He runs over, picks it up, and gets going. Now the replay shows front brake, a little bit of a bump. We call that a low side. Cameron would have to bring it into the pits, so his race is over. But the drama doesn't stop there when the race was stopped due to a huge crash. We call that one a high side, and those really hurt. So with the red flag out and only a handful of laps left, Josh Hayes takes the win. David Anthony gets second on the day, a huge bonus for the Suzuki Privateer Points Award winner. And how about GEICO Honda's Chris Ulrich, his first podium in quite a while. And in fourth, Canadian Marcel Erny on the BMW. So far his best result in the series. And Fillmore all the way back up to fifth. But it's Hurricane Hayes time.
You know, it's pretty cool. Superbike Shootout champion, I'll take it, you know. I feel bad for Cameron. It was his to win and his to lose. And unfortunately, it looked like he had a little tip over there, but I'm glad I was here to pick up the pieces for Monster Energy Graves Yamaha. So these guys have been really good for me and to me for a lot of years, and so I'm glad to put this one in the books for them.
Hayes tops the final point standings and wins the Superbike Shootout Championship. And how about David Anthony in third? What a great mid-season event. Looking forward to next year's. The sixth stop of the World Superbike calendar was in Portimao, Portugal over the weekend. In the dry, race one, it was reigning world champ Tom Sykes on the factory Kawasaki taking the win. American Aaron Yates on the American-made EBR 1190RX equaled his best finish yet, 16th, just outside the points. Jeff May did 4 laps and pulled in. In race two, the temperature was the same, but it was declared a wet race, and it was crazy. Teammates Gintuli and Marco Melandri collided in the closing stages as the race was shortened to 18 laps. But Johnny Ray takes home the prize for his 4th win of the season. UK's Tom Sykes still with a healthy lead, 43 over Frenchman Gintuli, who lives in England actually. Former AMA Pro racer Chaz Davis, with his podium on the factory Ducati, has him placed 6th, some 125 points back. On to World Supersport in a red-flagged race due to rain on lap 13, in what was hailed as one of the closest battles of the season. It was Dutchman Michael van der Mark with the victory, just ahead of Ireland's Jack Kennedy and former world champ Keenan Sofoglu. American PJ Jacobsen continues his impressive debut season, finishing 5th. Takeaways crash at Phillip Island round 1, and van der Mark has won or finished 2nd in all of them. That's good enough for a 53-point lead. And with only 4 races remaining on the calendar. Some news coming out of the MotoGP paddock. It was announced that MotoGP superstar and really world superstar Valentino Rossi has signed a 2-year extension on his contract with Yamaha. There was a huge question if Valentino Rossi would stay in MotoGP or retire. The 9-time world champ said that himself at the beginning of the season. So, good news for fans and no doubt for the folks at MotoGP. Rossi on an M1 until at least the end of 2016, good stuff. Hey, we want you to get out and watch some racing. So if you're near Mechanicsville, Maryland, get out and see the Lucas Oils Pro Motocross race on Saturday. In California, World Superbike and AMA Pro Racing head to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca from Friday till Sunday. AMA Pro ATV Motocross stops in New Berlin, New York for all the high-flying 4-wheel action. And on Sunday the 13th, AMA Pro Hill Climb is in West Branch, Michigan. By the way, we have a clip from Hill Climb. All right, we're wrapping things up right now. Hey, I wanted to mention, how about that old Mike Bell helmet? Pretty cool, huh? Motocross the Nation's hat. That's what we do here at the Racer X Show. If you want to get in touch with us, shoot us an email, or you can shoot me an email, greg@racertv.com. If you want us to put on some of your local races on the event calendar or whatever, it's greg@racertv.com. And hey, if you're a motorcycle racer or a fan and you want to stop by the Racer X Show on Tuesday, let us know. You can come check us out. We're in Morgantown, West Virginia, 80 miles south of Pittsburgh, just off the I-79. Why not? Come in, take a picture, do whatever you want. Well, that's it for now. We hope you enjoyed it. We sure did. Check us out on all of our social media links. Like us, follow us, do all that stuff. And you can follow me personally on Twitter. It's @GregWhite. For the fine crew here at the Racer X Show, presented by Chaparral Motorsports and Racer TV, I'm Greg White. Remember, we are all racing all the time. Bye-bye.